Prime Minister, thank you so much for your time. And when we talk to our audience today about some of the most important issues for them tied to the economy, typically at the top of the list right now is the housing market. It might be a regional story on some levels, Vancouver, Toronto, but it affects us all. And obviously your government has been taking steps to figure out what's going on. But what's been your general reaction just to these skyrocketing prices in markets like Vancouver and Toronto?
Well, as you know, we got elected with the commitment to try and help middle-class Canadians and those working hard to get into the middle class to succeed. And rising housing prices, uncertainty around being able to buy your first home or upgrade as you want to grow a family is a real drag on our economy and a real drag on Canadians' opportunities. So yes, we have to understand what's going on in the housing markets. And I think even though there's all sorts of theories about what's going on in Vancouver and in Toronto, there is more data we need. Because particularly when you talk about federal government action, we have such heavy levers that impact the entire country. We have to be very careful about how we engage.
And one of the things that you have focused on is that communication and the cooperation between the federal government, between municipal governments, between provincial governments. And I think that's why housing tends to be a tricky issue. To your point, there are as many people that seem to be saying if we were to see more action taken by the federal government, maybe that would do more harm than good. So it seems like there's a balancing act here.
Well, I think unintended consequences is always what you have to be careful of when you're a federal government. So that's where having a really good working relationship with the mayors of Toronto and Vancouver and talking with the provinces about what different ways we can approach this problem. And actually, like I said, really understanding what this problem is. There's lots of anecdotal stories about what it is, but digging into the meat of it is going to be important as well.
On that note, a lot of people point to this idea of foreign ownership, foreign buyers who are entering this market. Maybe they're entering this market because they want to own the homes. Maybe it's more for investment purposes. As you say, your government is looking at everything before it makes any determination on where things go. If there was some conclusion that we're seeing a dramatic amount of the effect coming from foreign purchases, what kind of remedies would you think about? Is this something tied to a tax? Is it tied to talking with those governments of other countries?
I'm not going to dig into hypotheticals here, but I mean, one thing we know for the Canadian economy is we have to draw in foreign investment. But the way we welcome foreign investment is by having clear, predictable frameworks and by being unabashed about making sure that it's in the interests of Canadians, of Canadian jobs, of Canadian economic growth and prosperity. So the way we do that is going to be the lens we put on this as we do on any foreign investments.
And you know, when people label this as an affordability crisis, it starts to raise questions not only about whether a young person, older person too, can own a home, but businesses that are in these city centers. Can their workforce make it all come together if they have to commute long distances? Does their morale go down?
Well, that's where folks like my parliamentary secretary Adam Vaughan, who's worked on this issue for so many years. I mean, when you have the core people offering services, whether it's nurses or firefighters or police officers in an urban core who can't afford to live anywhere near where they work and they have to live further and further out in the suburbs, yes, we need to do more around transit and transportation, getting commute times down. But we also should be making sure that cities are livable for a broad range of income levels, because that's what creates the most dynamic environment. How we do that, I think, is much more work at the municipal level than at the provincial or federal level, just because our levers are so broad. But we definitely need to be at the table working with municipal governments to support.